to see this Penn State come out and just ultimately roll them for 28 points, especially when it didn't look so good for the first half. I don't know if you follow this guy Timothy Burke on Twitter.
I don't think I do.
He puts a lot of. I think he used to do stuff for Deadspin back in the. He always puts these videos to like he has. I don't know. He must have access to. Because he'll put stuff like college football calls in Russian or Spanish or whatever. But But anyways, he had a nice compilation of like the first half highlights of Penn State Rutgers. It's just punt.
Oh, the punts! I did see that. Yeah, someone did retweet that onto my timeline. That was beautiful. I think I retweeted the Black Diaries Twitter account.
I mean, for considering how it was looking for the first, to come out and put up 28 on this defense ultimately was, it's pretty impressive. It's the offense of Rutgers that's, the part that really needs to improve if they're really gonna start to get people's attention in the Big Ten. That being said, Rutgers 5-6. Maryland. I haven't checked the score of Michigan, but I'm assuming if Michigan takes care of business, then Maryland falls to 5-6. So that makes next week's Rutgers Maryland matchup a de facto bowl play-in game. And frankly, I think given how Rutgers defense plays, I like their chances at home against the Terps. But then again, Maryland does have a dynamic passing game led by Tua Tagovailoa. So we'll see. That's kind of a game I'm kind of going to keep an eye on, even with Ohio State, Michigan going on next week. I guess I'm just intrigued by such things in a sick way. The sickos meme, but
yeah, I mean, like I said to you guys in the Black Sheet Irish Slack channel, I feel like that Rutgers and Maryland should be the ABC primetime game next week. So I'm right there with you on that one.
I'd watch it, like bowl playing game in primetime. Yeah, give me that Terps Scarlet Knights game.
No, I'm with you in that one. I do think I would trust Rutgers more, largely because of this defense, and Talia has the tendency to turn the ball over a time or 2 or 6 in a game. So I think I would take the Scarlet Knights for that reason. And ultimately, too, I trust Greg Schiano as a coach a hell of a lot more than I'd ever trust Mike Loxley.
Let's take a quick break here to let you know whether you're watching us on the Penn State channel or the Big Ten channel here on the Voice of College Football, Mark Rogers TV. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, blackshoediaries.com. You can check out Marty and I's work. Marty, I'm assuming you're working on your 3 takeaways right now.
I am.
We'll have my position grades up tomorrow. And also now, of course, with football season, regular season dwindling down, we're getting heavily into the winter sports. We have tremendous wrestling coverage over at Black Shoe Diaries. Hockey team's been up and down, but it's a program showing promise. And basketball team, it's going to be obviously there's going to be some rough sledding at times for Micah Shrewsbury's first year, but with the recruiting class he's got coming in, the future does look bright for that program too. So, whatever winter sport you follow, come check us out, blackshoediaries.com. Marty, so Michigan State next week. The game suddenly got a bit more interesting, in my opinion. In part because of Christian Veilleux stepping in for Penn State, and also just because of how absolutely destroyed Sparty got by Ohio State. It was Buckeyes led 49-0 at the half, and they go on to win by a final of 56-7. Marty, do you think? I guess it depends too. Do you think is there going to be a quarterback controversy going into next week? Do you think they will and should get the start, or do you think if Sean Clifford's 100% healthy, that he should get the start? And do you think Penn State can exploit Michigan State? Their biggest problem is lack of a pass defense. They've been pretty abysmal in that all year long, to be frank. Can they exploit that? Maybe not quite like Ohio State did, but can they exploit that enough to come out the win in East Lansing?
Well, I mean, I think as long as they have a healthy quarterback, rather that be Sean Clifford, or if Sean Clifford isn't healthy, Christian Veilleux, I think they can exploit that passing game or that secondary, excuse me. Because I mean, you look at what Penn State's done this year, throwing the ball. The big play ability is there. They have not gotten it nearly enough, obviously, but the ability is there with Jahan Dotson. With Malik Mega, as we saw today. I know Mega's a guy who the staff was extremely high on coming into the season, but was hurt earlier in the year. Else we probably would have seen a lot more of Mega earlier in the season. Parker Washington, Condre Lambert-Smith can hit the big play. These tight ends down the seams. So I do think they can exploit that passing the secondary of Michigan State's, but it all hinges on having a healthy quarterback. Sean Clifford, if he's healthy and playing, I think it can happen. Now, I will say, if Sean Clifford is not healthy, after what we saw today, you need to go with Christian Bayou. Don't have a repeat of the Illinois game where you don't trust your backup, especially because right now there's no reason not to trust your backup. And Michigan State, obviously, is a light years better team than Illinois is. As for the Spartans, I'll be curious to see where they're even kind of at mentally, because you go from being ranked, what were they? They got up to number 3, I believe.
And I think they were third at one point in the
college football
playoff rankings. Before they lost to Purdue, I think they were number 3.
Yeah, and you lose to Purdue in a game that wasn't super competitive, and then you come out this week and just get trounced by Ohio State. So now you're obviously not making the playoff. You're not going to the Big Ten title game. Kenneth Walker's probably not winning the Heisman. So a lot of the motivation that Sparty had for next week is gone. Now, that said, Mel Tucker is a terrific coach. I'm sure he'll have his team ready to go. But I do think that has to be a big factor where, and not saying Penn State wouldn't be motivated, because they should be. This gives you an opportunity to get what would be their, I believe, 3rd top 25 win of the year, including 2nd on the road, improve your bowl status, still have a chance to get to 9 wins. There's still things on the table there. But from Michigan State's standpoint, obviously there's a big difference between, had they won today, they would have controlled their own destiny next week. They would be a win away from going to Indy and then a win away from the playoff. So there's a big difference between facing that team and facing a team who, the difference between winning and losing might be the Citrus Bowl and like the Outback Bowl. Even the New Year's Six is probably off the table for them now, because I'm assuming Michigan gets one and Wisconsin gets the other. So I think the Michigan State not having as much to play for could be a big factor too, because again, that just cuts into their motivation level. And for Penn State, you really have the chance to, I guess, kind of play spoiler, because you can take what once looked like a potential special season for Michigan State and prevent them from even getting to double digits. And really, if today didn't do it, definitely put the nail in the coffin of Kenneth Walker's Heisman bid.
Yeah, I think I agree with the motivation factor. That being said, Mel Tucker, I think what stuck out to me was the Michigan game when they were trailing by 16 points in the second half, and they seemed like they were dead in the water. I'm still amazed at how they managed to come back against Michigan. It's testament to Tucker and the team for having that mental fortitude. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, they've gotten exploited lately by Purdue, by Ohio State today. That, and then again, now they're out of the playoff picture. They still. I will say, I think with they beat Penn State next week. I think they still could get into a New Year's Six bowl. I think there would be room for them somewhere, maybe in the Fiesta, perhaps. I don't know about the Rose, but I think Michigan probably ends up getting that over them. But we'll see. But if Penn State beats them, then yeah, I mean they're going probably to the Citrus, I would guess. Because I think best case bowl scenario right now for Penn State is Outback if they win next week.